I was reading through this guide last night, and I just got stuck on this one specific sentence.
Oh, yeah.
It basically said that for, the last century, we fetishized the struggle of art.
Mm-hmm.
We believed the value came from the hours of, agony the artist put in. But looking at the economy right now, in 2026, it feels like that model's completely inverted.
It has.
The money isn't in being the creator anymore. It's in being, an implementation specialist.
It's a brutal shift for some, but, the data just backs it up.
Right.
If you want proof, just look at the numbers in Max Ann's guide.
Okay.
We aren't talking about selling a masterpiece to a gallery.
Mm.
We're talking about finding a $19,000 demand for, say, hoodies.
Okay.
Hoodies featuring nurses who love heavy metal, and then having the execution to fill that demand in, under 20 minutes. That's a shift.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are unpacking a fascinating and, frankly, a somewhat controversial guide by Max Ann called 10 Ways to Make Money with Nano Banana AI.
Hey, the 2026 edition.
The 2026 edition, we're going to be talking about Nano Banana Pro, which, just to be clear for everyone, is the community code name for Google's Gemini 2.5 and 3 Flash image models, and how this tech is just fundamentally reshaping the microeconomy.
Right. And I want to set the stage here immediately because I can feel some listeners rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
When we talk about making money with AI images, a lot of people just tune out. They think of 2024. They think of AI slop.
The six-fingered hands.
The six-fingered hands, the melting faces, that flood of weird-looking junk that kind of broke the internet for a while. This isn't that. This deep dive is about 10 specific high-margin workflows that really rely on precision. We're moving past novelty into utility.
We do have a lot to get through. We're going to explore this philosophy of emotional arbitrage, which I find incredibly compelling. We'll look at the specific B2C and B2D streams, from pet portraits to digital planners.
And the reality check.
And maybe most importantly, we're going to look at the brutal reality of execution, because the guide is very honest about the fact that this is not a magic money printer.
It's definitely not magic. It's a production line.
So let's start with the tool itself. Nano Banana Pro. It sounds playful, almost childish, but the specs listed here suggest something way more serious. Why is this specific model the catalyst?
Okay, so it's the engine inside Google's Gemini ecosystem. And here's why it matters now, in 2026. 2 years ago, if you wanted top-tier AI art, I'm talking Midjourney V6 level stuff, you were paying $30 a month.
For a subscription, yeah.
For a subscription to some specialized lab. You had to be a prompt engineer. Nano Banana Pro changed the game because it's democratized. It's free. It's built right into your Google account.
But free tools usually mean lower quality. That's always been the trade-off.
Not anymore. That's the divergence. The specs here are photorealistic 4K output, and this is the killer feature, a 94% success rate on text rendering.
That text rendering is so crucial, isn't it? I remember trying to generate a logo a few years back, and it just looked like alien hieroglyphics.
It was a total mess.
Yeah.
But now, it can handle typography on a shirt, a book cover, a poster. It can spell coffee correctly every single time. And that capability, it just removes the final barrier.
No budget.
No budget, and you don't need Photoshop to fix the text. You just need a Gmail address.
This brings us to a concept in the source material that I kind of want to sit with for a moment. Emotional arbitrage. It suggests we aren't selling pixels, we're trading in feelings. That feels a little cynical, doesn't it?
I don't think it's cynical. I think it's just clinical. Emotional arbitrage is about using the character consistency of the model to solve a time-sensitive emotional problem.
Okay.
The guide makes a great point. You're not selling art. You are selling relevance. You're selling the feeling of seeing your specific dog breed in a Pixar-style, or the utility of a stock image that perfectly matches your brand.
So the arbitrage part.
It's the gap.
Yeah.
The gap between how much that feeling is worth to the customer and how little it costs you in time and energy to generate it.
The value shifts from the creation, the brushstrokes, to the connection. But I have to push back a little. If the tool is free for everyone, if I can open Gemini right now and make these images myself, what actually separates the winners from all the noise?
That is the multi-million-dollar question.
Why would I pay you?
It comes down to two things: visual staging and systemized prompting. Most people, even with a free tool, are just bad at prompting. They ask for a dog. They don't know how to ask for a golden retriever, cinematic lighting, 85mm lens, Pixar render style.
All the details.
All the details. The winner sells the logic and the presentation, not just the raw pixels.
Let's move into the concrete examples then. The consumer plays. The guide starts with print on demand. POD. Now, this model's been around for a decade. I feel like people have been saying POD is dead since like 2018. How has Nano Banana resurrected it?
POD is only dead for people selling generic junk. Method number 1 is a volume game, yes. You upload a design to a service like Printify, they put it on a hoodie, you never touch inventory.
Right.
But the strategy in 2026 isn't make a cool shirt. It's hyperspecificity. It's the identity matrix.
The identity matrix.
It's a concept from the guide. You take 2 distinct identity markers and you just smash them together.
Yeah.
Generic motivational quotes? Dead. What sells is nurses who love coffee or cat lovers who kayak.
Nurses who love coffee still feels a little bit generic to me. Is that really enough to drive a sale?
You got to drill down deeper. ICU nurses who love aggressive heavy metal. That is a passionate micro niche.
Okay, that's specific.
The source mentions a case study where a shop made $19,000 just targeting these hobby combos. Because when you see that shirt, you don't think that's a nice design. You think, that is me.
And the pro tip here was about characters, wasn't it? Using the AI's consistency.
Yes. This is where Nano Banana really shines.
Yeah.
You can create a consistent character. Let's say a grumpy, heavy metal-loving bear. You can generate that same bear in 50 different scenarios. Playing drums, drinking coffee, sleeping. You're not just selling one design, you're building a mascot. People get loyal to the character. You're building a brand, not a commodity.
That leads perfectly into the second method, which feels even more personal. Custom pet portraits.
Oh, yeah.
This feels like it taps directly into that emotional arbitrage. But again, are people really paying for this?
They are paying surprisingly well. And the workflow is just shockingly fast now. A customer sends you a photo of their dog, their cat, whatever.
Okay.
You upload it to Nano Banana as a reference image. This is a key. You use reference image weighting to tell the AI, keep the structure of this face, but change the style.
So it doesn't just generate a dog, it generates their dog.
Correct. You prompt it to look like a Studio Ghibli character or a Pixar render or a Renaissance painting.
And the turnaround time on that?
10 to 20 minutes. That's the competitive advantage. You're catching impulse buyers. If you can deliver a high-res file in 24 hours, people will pay. Pricing is solid, anywhere from $25 to $100.
Wow. I mean, it really makes you wonder about the scale of this. To think that a single, consistent character prompt can just spawn an entire product line from thin air. Or a snapshot of a dog becomes a portrait in minutes. It feels like alchemy.
It's speed and fidelity colliding.
But I'm still stuck on the customer psychology. Why pay? They pay because they want that emotional upgrade.
They pay for the certainty. They pay because they tried it themselves, and their dog came out looking like a mutant, The style was all wrong. They're paying you to be the filter.
Let's shift gears to the business-to-business side, the assets. The guide lists method number 3 as stock image packs. Now, we have Unsplash, we have Pexels. Free stock photos are everywhere. Who's buying AI stock packs?
Creators and small businesses who need specific utility. They don't want art. They want cozy coffee shop ambiance for their Instagram, but they need it in a very specific shade of beige.
To match their brand.
To match their brand. Or they need biotech website hero images in a specific cyber blue.
So it's about cohesion.
Exactly. If you go to Unsplash, you get a hodgepodge of styles. Different photographers, different lighting, different grain. The product here is a pack of 20 to 50 visually consistent images. You zip them up, sell the pack for $19.49. You're selling a coherent brand identity in a box.
And then there's method 4, which I find fascinating because it's so meta. AI prompt packs. You're not selling the image, you're selling the recipe.
Right.
But honestly, buying prompts feels a bit silly. Can't I just type cool sci-fi city?
You can, and you'll get a generic sci-fi city.
Right.
But there's a nuance here most people miss. You can't just sell a text file of random words. The guide emphasizes you have to sell a system.
The system.
These are parametric, prompts-tested prompts with editable variables.
Variables, like light code.
Sort of. Think of it like a Mad Libs. Here's the master prompt for a sci-fi landscape. Insert color palette, insert planet type, insert architecture style. You've done the hard work of figuring out the lighting, the camera angles, the render settings. The customer just plugs in their variables.
I have to admit, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. I'll type something into a model, and 10 minutes later, I've just lost the style completely. I can see why someone would pay $20 for a reliable starting point.
That reliability is the product. You're selling them the map so they can find the treasure themselves.
Let's look at method 6, book covers. This seems like a minefield. Artists have been designing book covers for decades. Is AI really taking this over?
For the self-publishing market, absolutely. We're talking about Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP. Thousands of books are published every single day.
Romance, sci-fi.
Romance, sci-fi, lit RPG. These authors do not have $500 for a custom illustrator.
So they turn to the implementation specialist.
Right. With Nano Banana, you generate the imagery, the spaceship, the couple in seconds. Yeah. But the differentiator, and the guide is really specific about this, is the typography.
The text.
Yes. You need to handle the specs, the 1600 by 2400 pixels. You need to put the title in a font that fits the genre. If you just slap Arial on a beautiful AI image, it looks cheap. If you have a good eye for type, you can charge $50 to $300 per cover.
And if you do a whole series?
That's recurring revenue. If an author writes a 10-book sci-fi series, they want the covers to match. You become their go-to person.
But again, the market, it's flooded. If I go on Fiverr right now, there are 10,000 people offering AI book covers. How do you not just become another commodity?
Specialization. You don't just do covers. You become the lit RPG cover guy or the Studio Ghibli-style pet artist. You own a tiny slice of the market completely. Big fish, small pond.
We are going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to look at what the guide calls the Holy Grail, recurring revenue, and then have a sober conversation about the math. Stay with us. Welcome back. We've covered the one-off sales, the hoodies, the portraits, the stock packs, but any business owner knows the real money, the sleep well at night money, is in recurring revenue. And the guide points to a way to do this with social media packages.
This is Method 7, and it's arguably the most stable model in the whole book. Think about real estate agents, local gyms, small coffee shops. They all know they need to post on Instagram.
They feel the pressure.
Huge pressure. But they're busy running their actual businesses. They don't have time to design quotes or find aesthetic photos.
So you become their outsourced content arm. But isn't that just being a social media manager?
It is, but with a twist. The old way required hours in Canva or Photoshop. Now, you use Nano Banana to generate branded images, maybe some, quote, overlays, in bulk. But here's the upsell that changes everything. Done-for-you scheduling.
You mean actually posting it for them?
Yes. You use a tool like Buffer or Later. You tell the client, don't just buy the images from me. Pay me an extra $100, $200 a month, and I'll schedule them to go out automatically. Now, you're not a designer. You're a solution provider. You're selling them peace of mind.
That is a powerful shift. It turns a product into a service.
Let's pivot to what the guide calls the paper and classroom economy, methods 9 and 10. This surprised me. I didn't think there was much crossover between AI tech and grade school teachers.
Oh, it's a massive sleeper hit. Method 9 is educational materials for teachers, specifically on platforms like Teachers Pay Teachers, TPT.
My sister's a teacher. I know she spends her own money on that site. It's a huge ecosystem.
It's an economy of visual attention. Teachers need posters, flashcards, bulletin board sets. They want their classrooms to look welcoming. Nano Banana lets you create custom illustrations that look incredibly professional.
A set of cute animals for an alphabet chart or something.
Exactly. Or historical figures in a consistent cartoon style.
And you sell these for, what, a few dollars? $4, $10, $25 for a bundle. It sounds low, but these are digital files. You make it once, you can sell it 10,000 times, zero marginal cost.
And Method 10 connects to this. Digital planners. This is for the iPad generation.
The iPad adults. People using GoodNotes or Notability. They buy hyperlink PDFs to organize their lives. The planner community is intense. It's a whole aesthetic lifestyle.
It really is. I've seen videos of people just decorating their digital planners for hours.
Exactly. And the key here is room sets, or matching aesthetics. You don't just sell a planner, you sell the stickers, the covers, the matching journal pages.
The whole vibe.
The whole vibe. You use the AI to generate a cozy autumn theme, and you apply it across every asset. It increases the average order value because the customer wants the whole set.
So what's the common thread here between a teacher's poster and a digital planner? They seem different.
It's about utility aesthetics. It's making functional, everyday tools look professional and beautiful. It's not art for a gallery. It's art for a classroom wall or a daily schedule. It's elevating the mundane.
We've painted a pretty rosy picture so far. Free tools, thousands in revenue, recurring income, but the guide includes a section called The Brutal Reality. I think we need to slow down and address this.
Yeah.
Because if it was this easy, everyone would be rich by Friday.
I'm really glad the author included this section. The math is hard, and most people fail. Let's look at the funnel. You might create 200 designs for your print-on-demand shop.
200 designs, that's not a weekend project. That is weeks of work.
It is. And out of those 200, maybe only 20 or 30 will ever sell. The rest are just dead inventory. They sit there. You have to be okay with a 90% failure rate on your creative output.
And then there are the costs. We said the tool is free, but the ecosystem isn't.
Exactly. The free tool gets you the image. But Etsy takes a 6.5% transaction fee. The payment processor takes another 3%. If you run ads to get eyeballs, that's more money out the door.
Margins get squeezed fast.
Very quickly if you're not careful.
And the time. The guide says this takes months, not weeks.
That's the biggest misconception. People think AI means instant business. No, AI means instant creation. But the business building, the SEO, the keyword research, the customer service, uploading, writing descriptions, that is the grind. It takes systems to scale this beyond hobby income.
So is the opportunity real, or is it just a lottery? Are we just throwing prompts at a wall and hoping one sticks?
It's absolutely real, but it rewards persistence and volume, not luck. The lottery players quit after week 2 when their cat portrait doesn't sell. The business builders are the ones on design 201, looking at their analytics, tweaking their keywords, and trying again.
That distinction is vital. It brings us back to the big idea of this deep dive. The source argues that we are moving from an era of expensive tools and high-skill barriers to an era of implementation.
That is the takeaway. The winning formula in 2026 is Nano Banana gives you access, niche observation gives you demand, and high-fidelity execution gives you speed.
The tool is free. The barrier is gone. But the insight, knowing that a nurse wants a specific type of coffee mug or that a teacher needs a specific type of flashcard, that is where the value still lives. The AI can generate the pixels.
But it cannot generate the empathy to know what the customer actually needs. That is still the human job.
I want to leave our listeners with the final thought from the source, which I found quite provocative. Max Ann writes, "The winners will open Gemini, generate their first design tonight, and have a store live by Friday."
That's the challenge. Stop reading, stop listening to us, and start building. The barrier is zero.
There you have it. The tools are in your hands. The market is waiting. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
See you in the marketplace.
Take care.